she was like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" I was like, "Zayn just fucking left." And she was like, she was like, "Who's Zayn? Left what? What do you mean?" And I was like, "You don't get it."
Oh my god.
That was my 9/11 though when Zayn left.
Stop!
Hello,
Hello.
I am Gabriel,
Oh my god. I'm still Carolyn. I don't do nicknames.
and this is Mutable Immutables, the show where we quibble queerly.
Oh, we exchange pleasantries. Yeah.
How you doing, Carolyn?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I had kind of a European morning. I got up not early, but I had some coffee and then I walked my dog down to our neighborhood bakery. So
Oh,
I don't know. I was feeling, you know, feeling nice. What about you?
a little Euro.
Yeah.
Very nice. Um, well, I just baked some baguettes
Oh
literally
la
like
la.
5 minutes ago. Yeah. Yeah.
J'adore.
That's it.
Which, by the way, we had some exciting news this week. The host of Drag Race France has been announced, and that is season 12's own
Oh,
Nikki
yeah, Nikki
doll.
doll.
Yeah, I think that's going to be exciting.
Yes, yes, I'm so excited. She's so funny, but also like gorge. So
Yeah,
I'm
she's
excited.
gorgeous. And do you know, I was when I was looking on social media about that announcement, someone had said that like France didn't really have that much of a drag scene, that it had kind of died out. But then
Hmm.
someone else said that since Drag Race US had gotten really popular, that there had been kind of like a resurgence of drag. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it.
Très intéressant.
We that girl. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about Drag Race first.
Yes.
We'll talk about UK versus the world, and then we'll talk about season 14. So,
Sounds great.
work of art was the theme. Yeah, work of art was the theme for UK versus the world. Start with Baga. Oh, I should have looked up. I don't remember. Is it Claude Monet who did this painting? I don't know. It's sunflowers in the pot. What do you think?
No, it was Van Gogh.
Thank you. Embarrassing.
It's
Yeah.
only because I just went to the Van Gogh exhibition like a month ago. That whole, yeah.
Uh, yeah, that thing's all the rage. Yeah, no,
I liked
I
it.
don't know.
I didn't like it at
I have no
first.
feelings. I think it's fine.
I think it's cute.
I don't like the skirt.
Yeah, the skirt's a little bit weird. I don't know. I didn't like it as much on the runway, but looking at it now, I think it's really cute.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tutor boot.
Moot.
I think I'll moot.
I don't know. I guess I'll toot it. It's fine.
Moot or toot. Yeah, one of the two. Somewhere in there.
I have no feelings towards bag of chips anymore. Blue Hydrangea doing Picasso. Ooh, I like it. Picasso. I loved it.
I loved this, which
I lived.
it was the judges didn't seem to love it that much, but this was gorgeous. This was fantastic.
I love the ruffles at the bottom of the dress.
Yes. Yeah. With the makeup and that collar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The makeup and the bolero collar.
Mhm.
Yeah, everything. I have no notes.
This might have been my favorite. I just really, really loved it.
This was my favorite.
Yeah. Super toot.
Same. Sorry. Did you watch oh my god, what's the name of it? I hate this. It's Yua Hamasaki does it. It's bootleg opinions.
Oh, no.
And it's like fashion photo review, but like their version. Anyway, so she did it with Kennedy Davenport, and Kennedy was like, "What's her name? Janet Jacquet." She's like, "No, Janie." Okay, Janet Jacquet. So that's her name from now on. Janet
Jacquet.
Jacquet.
Yeah.
Doing Andy Warhol pop art. Did you catch that Warhol Factory reference? Back to the Factory.
I sure did. I said, oh, my, how serendipitous this week.
Yeah, I love it.
Really?
Yeah, you don't.
Maybe I'm a hater. I feel like everyone really loved it. I I thought it looked good. Like, don't get me wrong. I loved the way she did her hair and makeup.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, though, that she was going to do a reveal.
Yeah.
And then she never did. Like, I don't know, just the way the jacket was tied.
It does kind of look like a reveal.
Yeah, so maybe I just had some kind of expectations that maybe I shouldn't have. It wasn't a bad look. It was really good. I don't know. Everyone was like immediately gagged for it. And I was like, I thought there was going to be something else, but okay.
Yeah, no, I can see how it would be a reveal look, maybe. But anyway, I loved it, so toot it.
I am going to toot it. Yeah, it looks great.
Zhuzh actually turned it out.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Jujubee did. I don't know what artist this was.
I don't know what this is either.
It's like a flowing, like tan beige thing with a crystal crown thing. I think it's pretty. What do you think?
I don't. I'm sorry. I don't.
Wow.
I think her hair and makeup looks gorgeous. And I do like the little necklace jewelry piece that we have going on, but I don't like the color. Like between the color of the dress, the color of the bust, and the color of her skin and the color of her hair, it's just too much of this like variations on this same like clay brown kind of thing. I don't know. It like she looks great, but it just felt a little plain. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater.
Maybe I'm just like based on what she's done before, which was so plain. Yeah, no, I comparatively it's good, I guess. Is it supposed to be a nude illusion?
See, I don't know. I don't think so. But the color's too close.
Yeah, the color's like perfect if it's supposed to be a nude illusion.
But I don't think it's supposed to be.
Well, not perfect, but it's really good. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I toot it.
Okay, I love it.
Sorry.
No.
Mohart?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mohart with the heart ripped out with the flower face thing. I will say about the dress, the
boot
arm part with the glove is that.
Oh.
Well, I mean the boot, but the arm part with the glove is like a little loose, and I don't know if it's supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be. What artist was this?
I don't know which artist this is. I do know that I loved this look. I am confused by the singular boot, but I love seeing Mo in this lavender lilac color.
Yeah.
And I thought that the headpiece was really interesting. I didn't really understand it, but I just overall I really liked it. I don't know.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess the thing is I don't know the reference, so I feel like the boot might make sense if I knew the artist this was referencing, as is often the case, but I toot it anyway because she looks really pretty.
Are we talking about the challenge? I only have like really one thing to say about the challenge.
Go ahead.
I just loved Mo in the Tina mullet saying Hollywood baby.
The mullet is something else. She's been wearing that since like her first season, that kind of like mullet thing.
It looks good on her though.
Yeah, it's gonna be so funny if she wins a trip to Hollywood,
where she lives.
She lives.
Yeah, I know. I'm torn because I like want her to win, but like she wouldn't really get a prize.
Yeah, it's like you have to think through these prizes since it's on the BBC. It's publicly funded, so they can't do cash prizes. That's why they don't win cash prizes. Mm-hmm. And so, like being on a song, like maybe you get the royalties or something. I don't know, but like winning a trip to Hollywood, like that being one of the prizes, and then inviting a queen from Hollywood to compete. Like, come on.
I know it's
do something else. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say, though, this is the top 4 that I wanted basically from the beginning. So I'm happy about it. I do think that in terms of elimination, this week's and last week's should have been switched.
Absolutely not.
But
no, no. I'm sorry. What the hell do you mean this is... No.
I like all
this
4
was not your original top 4. What are you talking about?
For UK versus the world,
you were fully Team Jimbo.
Okay, true. I did love Jimbo. I don't know. I did like a lot of them, but I am happy with
What is this
top
revisionist 4. History you're doing? I'm not.
Crafting the world in my image.
I know. Oh my god. You're such a liar. I am not happy. I'll tell the truth. I'm not happy at all with this top 4. That ship sailed for me. I'm happy with Mo and Blue.
Yeah.
I kind of want Blue to win, though, just because I love an Irish girl.
I do love Blue. I'm kind of oscillating on Jujubee.
I'm sorry, I can't with her.
I like Baga a lot. maybe this isn't the exact like top four that I wanted. But I did really like all four of these queens from the beginning. But I also had really liked Jimbo and Lemon. I didn't really know much about Cheryl or Pangina or any of them, though. But I do think it was Janie Jacquet's time to go. I thought that time was last week, but you know.
Thought that time was the first week originally, but I have come around to her. But yeah, I don't think she should have made it in the top four. It's fine.
You know, I did see someone said that she's been like a very solid contestant. Like she's, not tried to start fights with anyone. She's been, taking responsibility for the things that she fucked up, and she's been, proud of herself for what she does well.
Yeah.
I think she's cool. I like her. She's also hot.
There we go. That's fair. Okay, any final thoughts on UK versus the World before we have the finale in however many days?
I am torn because I would love to see Mo win, but as we just talked about, the prize would be a little bit questionable for her, so I don't know.
A trip around the block.
Oh, yeah. Which team are you? Are you
Oh, like who do I want to win?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think Blue Hydrangea.
Yeah, I think I'm either Team Mo or Team Blue.
I just always love everything she does.
Yeah, I like both of them a lot. I'm for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Season 14?
I love Blue Hydrangea. I love An Irish Girl. Yes, let's move on to season 14. Okay, challenge. Let's talk about the challenge first. I don't know how to feel about the challenge just being not even improv, just like casual talking. Like a panel discussion, but like not scripted. I don't know.
They've done this challenge before. I don't know. It's kind of filler,
when?
but I do like it. With proportionizing. It was season 10. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, you're right. See, but those were that was an interesting thing, proportionizing. This was just about menses. I guess they talked about interesting things. I was just a little bit confused, like what it was. Whatever. Anyway,
it was
doesn't
definitely a filler challenge, but I do think it was kind of touching. I enjoyed listening to the conversations.
Oh yeah, same. I was just like, I guess it was just like a ad for DragCon.
100%, yeah. Yeah.
So let's move on. We'll talk about the runway. So let's start with Deja Sky, who, in my opinion, won this challenge. Doing the Coco Chanel, but like huge ass shoulder pads. I think she won.
I think she won the runway. I don't know if I necessarily think she won the challenge. I do agree with Bosco winning that. I mean, Men, Electric Boogaloo Part 2, now with more men, But I was obsessed with these shoulder pads, and I felt bad for all the queens that came after her, because I was like, anything that comes after that is going to look like
oh my god,
it didn't fit the challenge.
Exactly what I thought. I was like, wow, they really started out with a bang. No, I love this. Giving us David Byrne, Coco Chanel realness. I loved it.
Yep.
10 out of 10.
That's got to be a fucking curtain rod or something.
I know.
It was
yeah, retention. Oh god, never mind.
And talking proportionizing, Deja Sky is fabulous at creating just these insane silhouettes for her body every single week. She's so good.
Yeah, her body is like incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, Lady Camden as the Nutcracker. I thought this was super creative. That's all I got.
I thought it was creative. I don't know if it was the challenge, but it was cute to look at.
I thought it was a creative way to do the challenge with the shoulder
tassel-y things,
fringy things for the Nutcracker. Yeah. I don't know how much I love it, but it was fun and stupid, so
yeah, right.
I love it in that respect.
Same. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't.
I was. You talk.
Okay. Super toot Deja, because we didn't say that, and then I'm gonna moot Camden. That's all.
Okay, I moot her too. I was honest to God afraid. I thought she might go home at one point, just based on how she was doing in the panel discussion.
I still am a little bit worried for her because she really brought it out with the whole Freddie Mercury thing, but before that she was kind of timid, and after that she's been kind of timid. So
exactly.
I don't really know. I definitely don't want to see her go home, but we'll see.
Yeah, I fear for her. Yeah, so mood. Willow Pill, suit, jacket, spiked up hair with skinny glasses.
I loved it. I feel like this is a very Willow Pill look. I know that the shoulder pads weren't necessarily there, or maybe Willow's just so tiny that you like can't even tell. But obviously they could have been more exaggerated, and I think
Yeah,
Michelle said that like when Deja came out with those big curtain rods, like that's what they wanted everyone to do basically.
exactly.
But overall the
Right.
look as a whole was very not like I know it's not technically the challenge, but I'm gonna toot it. It's
So
good.
here's the thing: it's like everybody's like, she didn't do the challenge, but she's great. Yes, she fucking did. Are those not shoulder pads? Sorry, like it might not have been like the most exact. She did do the challenge.
I guess that's
It
true.
could have been more exaggerated, but like she still did it. This is what I've been trying to figure out. What reference is this? Is this a reference to something? Because I swear to God, it feels so familiar. And my first, I hate this. My first thought was Fat Mike from NoFX, but it's not him. And then I was thinking like maybe an old video game character. Like this look it's really familiar to me, and I can't figure out why. And I want her to explain if it's a reference to something or not.
I don't think we should be endeavoring to understand the way that Willow Pill's mind works. I'm just gonna enjoy the
Oh,
look
I'm
because I
endeavoring.
have. I don't know. I like it. I don't know what it's a reference to. I don't really care. I just think it looks great.
Is she still in your area? Tell her I have questions.
She probably flew out this morning or something, but
Damn.
if I run into her in my apartment today where I'll be, I will let her know.
If she knocks on your door, tell her I have some questions.
Yeah.
Okay, next Angeria doing Houndstooth Club Kid pattern mixing thing. What you got?
So I think she looked good. She always looks good.
Mm-hmm.
The shoulder pads, yeah, they were there. I don't know how I feel about the cohesion of the garment overall. Um, with the pattern mixing, I don't know. Like it's not bad, but I
Yeah,
just feel like there were definitely stronger looks on the runway. This is definitely a safe look to me, in my opinion.
right. So my thoughts are that this isn't the normal thing she wears, and she tried to do the whole club kid thing. I think this look, I get where she's going with the crown thing, but I feel like it could have used hair maybe.
Hmm.
Also, I love a pattern mix, but I don't. I like. I almost wish.
They were
I
too
wish the plaid
similar.
was like a different pattern, like maybe a bigger plaid. Yeah, like it's kind of. I don't know. I wish it was more exaggerated. And then final thought: why the fuck wouldn't you line your cape?
Also, that yeah, it was disjointed.
I hate it when it's like this whole beautiful look, and then it's just a bed sheet on the inside. I am not a seamstress. I am not a drag queen. I'm not an expert. I just notice things. I toot it though. I like it.
Maybe this was a plan B, or who knows? Because like you said, we are not at all authorities on the matter. We're just avid watchers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's again it's a fine look on its own compared to the rest of them. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna mood it. I think.
I'll still toot it, but it's not my because like the shape and the silhouette is really gorgeous, but it's not my favorite interior look
Mm.
at all. Bosco. I don't even know how to describe this. Bikini raincoat?
Uh,
Pointy raincoat?
Sexy and hot and fly and beautiful. That's how you describe it. I know the judges didn't live for it, and I know they didn't live for it on pit stop. I thought it was hot.
Yeah. I know, and I'm confused. Everybody's like, it's a corset and a panty. I'm like,
So
no, it's
what?
not though. Like,
But also, so what? Like the
it's
bra is
like
an
it is,
interesting
but like,
color.
yeah,
It's like got this iridescent thing going on.
yeah,
These glasses with that wig. Honestly, this her face is giving me a little bit Nikki doll. Um, I don't know. I just thought it was hot. It
yeah,
looked good. Maybe it wasn't the best look of the night, but I mean,
yeah. She looks good.
whatever. And she won, by the way. So
Can't a lady just come out in a skimpy outfit? But yeah, I know. Sewer, sewer. Okay. Toot Bosco, obviously. Love her.
definitely too. Yeah.
Okay. Next we have Georges doing what she described as Selena mixed with Prince, in which she wears absolutely no shoulder pads.
True, she didn't wear any shoulder pads, but I thought this look was adorable.
Sorry, that's a sleeve.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a shoulder pad. It's just like when she definitely was not wearing chaps. Georges is pulling like a Valentina,
Mm-hmm.
like in her own, but it's adorable. It's adorable.
RuPaul just fucking loves her.
Yeah, and I'm like the way that she like jaunts down that runway. I don't know. I think she's so cute. But this was not shoulder pads.
Her walk is great, but this was a puff sleeve, and no, it doesn't count. And I don't know, I just didn't love this. It was fine. Yeah, it was fine. I thought she was gonna go home.
I thought the hair was an interesting departure for her from what she normally does.
Not interesting enough.
I'm gonna toot this one, I think, just because it's cute.
I boot.
Moving on.
Was that the only one I've booted so far? I think it is. Boots. Okay, we have Jasmine Kennedy. Neon pointy black hair thing. I love it.
I also loved it, and I don't think they loved it on Pit Stop because they said the makeup was a little bit too hard, but I thought the contrast between the neon of the garment and the dark makeup, first of all, the contrast was strong.
Yeah.
Second of all, this is not something that we typically see Jasmine Kennedy in, and it looked great. I will agree with Monet and Brooklyn from Pit Stop about maybe adding a belt, but I also thought it looked fine without a belt. You know, like a belt would have made it stronger, but I think it looked fine as it is. This was, I thought, one of Jasmine's better looks.
Same. I thought it was cool as fuck. I thought it was fashion, and you're right, it is a departure from the like pageanty thing she normally does. I lived for it. I don't care what people think. Also, I don't know if it's just because it's neon, but it's giving me detox.
That might be. I do love this hair on her too, because she normally, does that like pageant dance mom kind of hair, but I love this. This is
So like really pulled black in the front, and then like curly, and then like a big gem or bow or something. Yeah,
definitely toot from me.
Yeah, I toot. I love it. This was actually one of my favorites. I'm not 100% in agreement that she deserved to be in the bottom, but I think they put her in the bottom with Georges just to do the lip sync. They were like, she was bad enough.
Which was fantastic, but we can talk about that in a second.
Yeah, we have one more. So, Diabetes, football pad, army pant look.
I didn't like it. I thought her hair and makeup looked great. I feel like I say this about them all the time, but like the hair and makeup looked great. But I am not a fan of camo.
Yeah.
And I also just like, I don't know. It felt a little, my boyfriend used the word violent. Like, I can get into the punky thing, but there's a little bit of a violence to this that I'm like, I'm really soft. That's not my brand. But I know it's her brand, so good.
It's the imperialistic association with the camo.
Yep, there you go.
This look grew on me. I did not like it. Yeah, I did not like it when I first saw it, but you know what? I can appreciate the football pad thing with the spike. I think, you know what? It's giving guar. Also, somebody, I think on one of the Reddit pages or something, they posted a pic of RuPaul in his club days, and like RuPaul definitely wore a very, very similar outfit to this.
Really?
It was like football pads, and then like instead of the pants, it was like chaps into a big pant. I'll post it, or I'll send it to you or something.
Interesting.
So I thought that was interesting. I like this more the more that I look at it, but whatever Queen relentlessly describes himself as punk, I just want to know who their influences are. Like specifically, I'm like, do you listen to punk music? Is it the DIY polystyrene thing? Like, I want to know. I just want to know.
I'm like, I get it. I'm just like kind of sick of hearing about it, because I feel like every week she's like, yeah, Diabetes a little punky, or something like that, and it's like, girl, we know you're always in a mohawk or something like that. Like, I get it.
It's like Jinx Monsoon describing Blair St. Clair coming back for All Stars, and she goes, I'm a bad girl now. Except Dia does it every week. Anyway, yep. I do this look. I wouldn't have it first, but it has grown on me like a fine wine. That's not the phrase, whatever.
I boot this look. I just hate camo.
All right, and then lip sync was great, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think Georges did better in the lip sync, but hasn't this been her like third or fourth time in the bottom? But it's also been Jasmine's, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, so I think it's maybe Georges' second time actually lip syncing. I think there were a couple other times she thought she was going to, and then she was safe or something. But this was definitely Jasmine's third time in the bottom. So I was like, is the third time curse gonna knock her out? And I think it was a strong lip sync on both ends. I do love how they played off each other, like that moment when they were both like,
that was really
that was
fun.
cute.
Yeah. I
I don't
also
know.
love when they use songs that aren't like the main like pop disco, like not what you would always
Yeah.
think of for like a drag lip sync. Like Etta James, are you kidding me? Um, I hate that they kept two people because they already did the episode after Cornbread left where nobody went home.
Hmm.
Then they did a double sachet, Shantae.
Shantae.
A double stay. Both people stay, and there's still the golden ticket. There's
Well,
gonna be a third episode where nobody goes home.
yeah, because there was after Cornbread left, nobody went home. After Maddie left, nobody went home, and now after Carrie left, nobody went home. Plus, at the beginning, remember
Yeah,
Daya and Orion both went home, but then came
they
back.
came back.
So I don't know. I love to see a double Shantae just because like I when they do a really good performance, I like to see that
When
rewarded.
appropriate.
But it is it's starting to get into like you remember season 13 there were like 5 episodes where like no one went home.
I was gonna say, okay, but season 13, that was because of COVID rules, because they
Mm.
couldn't have more than whatever many people in a room. So that's what I was gonna say is like, you can forgive them for that. Like, yes, it was so long and so boring to watch so many episodes where nobody went home, but we were like, it was a pandemic. We knew why. This, unacceptable. This is too much.
It's approaching that level where I'm like, okay, this isn't RuPaul's Best Friend race, you know? So like
I know. Kick some bitches out. Oh my god.
but I thought if there was a lip sync to have a double Shantae, I thought this was probably the best one to do that. It was good.
I guess, but like, I don't know. Somebody should have gone home. Sorry. I don't have hard feelings on who, but somebody should have.
Also, I do want to point out Jasmine said something, and I want to know what this means. Maybe you know what this means, but I think it might have been an Untucked, or maybe it was just at the end of the episode. I don't know. But when Jasmine found out it was a double Shantae or whatever, in her little confessional, she was like, "I was gooped and betriveled, and what what does betriveled mean? What is that? What does that
Okay,
mean?"
I have no idea, and I did not. I don't know. Gooped and gagged came from Monique Hart, I'm pretty sure, or Monet maybe. Um, yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Uh,
It's kind of an Alyssaism.
yeah.
Hold on.
This is horrible for podcasting.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry to your
Sorry,
eardrums.
guys.
Yeah, no final thoughts. Let's move on. I'm over it.
I do want to say
Me, a fan of this show, also hates this show.
my last thing is I hope that when we go to DragCon that Bosco is hosting a panel because she did so well. That was so fun to watch.
Oh, I think they just released a couple of the panels they're going to be doing, but I forgot to
did
look
they?
at it.
I did find out All Star 7 has been announced and it's all but confirmed it's going to be an all winners season.
All winners.
Mhm.
So okay, when people say all winners, there's no way that means every single winner, every single past winner. There's no way
No.
that's what
It
that
means
means,
only
right?
winners. Like so far,
Okay.
I can tell you
Just like there's going to be a cast. Okay.
I can tell you who is going to be rumored to be there. We've got let's see, Jinx, Raja, the Vivian from UK season 1, Jade Essence Hall, Monet Exchange, Shea Coulee, Trinity the Tuck, and Evie Oddly.
Okay.
These aren't confirmed, but these are strong possibilities. And I think that could be cool. I would have liked to see maybe another non-American there, just because there are a bunch of other franchises now.
Yeah, was there just the Vivian?
Yeah, she's the only non-American there. Like, I'd love to see Priyanka there.
What's her name? Haranka.
But yeah, Priyanka would be great.
Maybe I don't know. Everything is filmed so close together. Like, when did they film this? Because she might not have even won yet.
God knows.
I'm kidding. That's probably not that far ahead.
Well, no, it was last summer, I think it was filmed.
Okay, but then, like, so Isis Couture hadn't been crowned. I don't know if the Australia, which, who the fuck knows what happened on that season. I barely remember it. And then UK season 3 hadn't been crowned yet.
UK season 2 hadn't, I think, had barely been crowned by last summer.
Can't remember. I remember watching the finale to UK season 3 over the holidays of last year.
Oh. Who knows?
So,
Who knows?
Season 2 would have been
There's
out.
a million fucking franchises.
What are we talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Let's move on.
Anyway, I'm like, I don't know why people are all like excited about an all winners season. What I personally like to see would be like the early out girls. like the kind of forgotten people from seasons past.
Yeah, like first, second, third eliminated. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I feel like, I mean, obviously Rue can do whatever she
Bring
wants to
Venus
do,
Delight back.
but like these people have already won a bunch of money and notoriety and stuff like that. We're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll love to watch it though. I'm excited.
Also, like, I don't know how I feel about these, like, queens being on 3 seasons. Like, Monet and Trin, like, people who won All Stars, like, that was already their second time. Like, at
Hmm.
least, like, Jinx and Raja only did it the one time, you know, and Evie, whatever. But, like, I don't know. I don't want to see the same queens compete a million times. I want
Yeah.
new people, and, like, obviously for All Stars, I want, like, people who aren't really in the register. Like, obviously a lot of people from old seasons, like, no longer do drag. Like, winner of season 2, I don't know if you know, no longer uses their drag name. They just go by James.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so, like, there's a lot of people who have quit, but, like, I would like to see some
Well,
kind of forgotten
I
folks.
think the cutoff should be you get your regular season and you get your All Star season, and I think the only exception to that should be
Yeah.
like in Ginger Minge's case, where like in your All Star season, if you're the first eliminated, then maybe you can come back for another. But other than that, it's like I love these queens,
Serena Chacha.
but I'm just gonna watch them on YouTube or something. I don't need to watch them on this competition over and over and over again, you know. So
Yeah. I think we're pretty much in agreement here,
yeah.
so, yeah.
Okay, moving on. Non Drag Race to Club Kids.
Yes. Okay, what,
Um,
where do you want to, what, floor's yours.
so I have done a little bit of research as far as like a timeline kind of thing goes, but I know that
Oh,
this is your
perfect.
area of expertise more than mine. So I figure we can just go through this little my little list of things, and then you can just embellish and add and give context wherever you see fit. How's that sound?
Hell yeah. Yeah, yeah, you always have good notes, so you start.
Cool. Okay, so we talked a bit last week about the club kids, and we kind of explained them a little bit. But last week we talked more about Michael Allig, who is kind of known as, I don't want to say the founder, but he was kind of one of the ringleaders of the club kid movement, part of the like first wave, because there are, I would say, I guess, like two kind of more distinct waves of the club kids. There was a wave from like 87 to about 1991, and then from 1991 to 94 to 97 as they kind of petered out with Rudy Giuliani and the tragic murder of Angel Melendez. So I read a couple articles that had they were like interviews with Michael Musto, who was a journalist that I mentioned last week. He was basically just like a groupie.
Wrote for the
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, he wrote for the Village Voice. He wasn't a
Well,
groupie.
but he was a
He
groupie.
was a real journalist.
Yeah, he was a journalist, but he also hung out with the club kids pretty frequently. So he was like a good source of information there.
Yeah.
And then I also read an interview with Walt Cassidy, who used to go by the name Walt
Mm-hmm.
Paper, and
Yeah.
he was a somewhat prominent club kid. So
He wrote a book.
he wrote a book, yeah, which came out in 2019, and that's kind of what the interview was about.
Yeah. I read the same interview.
So the term club kid was first coined by New York Magazine in 1988, which I did not know. I don't know where it came from, but
Sorry, and one of the, because you know that's kind of the whole thing is that they were always on daytime talk shows. On one of them, I don't remember which one, um, Michael Alec or Richie Rich or whoever it goes. Actually, it's club personalities. So sometimes they were referring to themselves as personalities.
well, they very much were. You said last week, and this was also echoed in one of the interviews that I was reading, but they were like the OG influencers because they were just these like kids who went out and partied a lot and then kind of turned into club promoters. And at one point they even toured around the country, but I'll get there.
So another part of that though is that a lot of times they were a DJ or an artist or a go-go boy or whatever. They were promoting themselves, like
Yeah.
their own brand. Like, so you would go and see them at the club wearing this wild outfit, but then it's like, oh, you should listen to my song. or
So,
whatever too. So it's not just about the dressing up; it's the dressing up to promote your own
mhm.
yourself and your brand.
And the word influencer has a different connotation today, but the club kids were not like the
Mm-hmm.
influencers of today, where it's like, you know, perfect face, perfect teeth, and they're advertising this product and they're trying to be relatable in their little hoodie or whatever. Not that. It's more like if you hang out in the art department at your college and you have all these kids that are just like hanging out and having a good time and being creative and supportive of each other, more that vibe. And then they kind of turned in the direction of like kind of promoting clubs but also just promoting themselves. And I feel like the club kids got kind of a bad reputation, especially after the whole Angel Melendez thing. But
I mean,
it was described as like for the people there, it was described as like euphoric and encouraging. Like there's a quote from Walt Paper who said that this was like a laboratory. It was like a place where you were encouraged and rewarded for experimentation and being yourself, which is super
mm-hmm.
cool.
That is. Um, Actually, never mind. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Okay. So you have brought up a couple times Andy Warhol's factory.
Yes.
Michael Ehrlich actually said at in one interview that they had initially started dressing up as like a kind of way to make fun of the people that were dressing up to go to the factory, but then they lost.
Haha, see, I told you it came from that.
Yeah, totally. They just lost the plot down the line, and then they were like, "Oh shit, we're actually dressing up to have fun." Who knew?
You do things. See, you do things ironically for long enough, they become non-ironic.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, actually, dressing up is really fun.
Yeah.
They were onto something. Oh, what I was gonna say though earlier when I lost my train of thought is like the idea of going out purposely, hanging out somewhere just for the purpose of being seen existed forever. Look at old Hollywood.
Oh
You
yeah.
would like show up with a person to a particular place at a particular time because you know that the right people would be there. And that's how you get a story out. It's
Even
like,
before old Hollywood.
I mean, yeah, fine.
Ever since there were class divisions, the idea of being seen with other people was, you know,
You're right.
that's like what the show Bridgerton is about.
Oh, fair.
Which, by the way, Bridgerton season 2 is coming out soon. I'm excited. I've got to do my rewatch.
You know, the whole premise, I loved that show, but the whole premise, like the whole subject, you're dancing
Oh,
around because it's too vulgar for TV.
yeah.
I'm like, am I a prude?
I don't know. I am a sucker for any of that, like,
I'm uncomfortable with it.
high class British, you know, posh.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
No, I love a period piece.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. So there was, like I said, there was a first wave that existed in the late 80s, and then in the early 90s, kind of a second wave came on, and this was once the initial club kids had started gaining a lot of popularity and a lot of traction. And around this time, you could even see some musicians and different, you know, famous people and artists that were hanging around the club kids, like Bjork and the Sugar Cubes and stuff like that.
Bjork was in the Sugar Cubes. That's her band, but yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like Kiss and like Debbie Harry was always like at the, you know, there's that kind of like New York scene, Queens, baby, that whole, you know, they all gathered. I've thought of my next archival project, which will probably not happen as most of them don't, and might need a specific software or something to do this, but like a timeline mapping of downtown New York nightclubs from like the 70s to the 2000s.
Interesting.
Just because I'm like a visual person, I want to like see where everything is in relation to each other. I also don't know much about New York geography, to be fair.
That's a whole thing.
That was a tangent.
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, go on.
So as you mentioned last week, unfortunately the death of the club kids was part drug use, part Rudy Giuliani. At first, the club kids were only doing your standard party drugs, like they're smoking weed. They were maybe, you know, taking some acid or doing some
Quaaludes and
shrooms,
cocaine.
Cocaine a little bit, yeah. But then towards the time of the second wave, that was also when Michael had started bringing in some more drug dealers
Special
because
K?
his own drug use had picked up, and so there was a lot of Special K, ketamine. A lot of that was being done, and then unfortunately also a lot of crack and heroin. And I remember at one point someone said that they were doing heroin and they knew it was bad, but they were like, whatever, we're junkies. This is our aesthetic now. We're going to lean into it. And unfortunately, it wasn't, obviously was not good for a lot of them or the movement. And so a combination of the drugs and Rudy Giuliani's quality of life campaign, which was about, cleaning up the nightlife scene, kind of, it really forced the end of the Club Kids, but it wasn't really until Angel Melendez was murdered and all that came out that the Club Kids themselves were like, okay, yeah, this is done. We're not that anymore.
So some interesting parallels here. Okay. So you mentioned how they do heroin because it's the aesthetic. We're junkies. This is why we do this. This is exactly what happened with punk rock in the 70s. So punk rock broke in 1977 in the UK, not in America, because it broke in the UK and the Sex Pistols were so notorious, I would say, that punk couldn't break in the USA. It was too scandalous. Punk didn't break in the USA until the 90s. And then, so when it broke in, I can never remember if it's 92 or 94 when Nevermind by Nirvana came out. That's when punk broke. It kind of lines up right around here with the heroin use. So I will say heroin kills any good artistic music. It's the same thing Sid Vicious was doing when he started using heroin. It was for the aesthetic. I think Nancy was the first person who shot him up. So she has her own issues. We can talk about her another time if you ever want to. But I think what I have heard with it is that you do it once, and it's like not so bad, and so you're like, oh, I could handle this. I could do it every day. But then you get your tolerance, and then it's never the same, and you have to do more, of course. But specifically with heroin, I think it's so unassuming the first time you do it, and then it's just wildly addictive. So, don't do drugs. My thoughts on that.
Don't do drugs. Never do heroin. If you are tempted to do any drugs for the aesthetic of it, just get candy cigarettes. That's all you need.
I will say also, if you do use drugs in that way, just do it safely. There's people out there to help you do it safely. Use clean needles and all that.
Correct.
Anyway.
Yeah. Look in if maybe you're struggling with addiction, or if you're wanting to handle your drugs more responsibly. Look into the resources that your town has. A lot of towns and states and localities, especially on the West Coast, have a bunch of programs that are advocating for the legalization or decriminalization of a lot of drugs and illicit substances in favor of, they want to make sure that people are doing them safely because they know how tricky the situation is. So look into the resources that your town has. You might be surprised.
Harm reduction. We love harm reduction.
Yes, very much. We do love that. So, in talking about the death of the Club Kids, Walter Cassidy, Walt's paper, said a lot of the community felt that our experience was hijacked by the whole party monster narrative. That's not the New York that I knew.
Yeah.
That narrative doesn't include the creativity, vibrancy, and cultural impact that I experienced.
Yeah.
And so, kind of as a foil to the whole party monster thing, he published a book in 2019 called New York Club Kids, New York Club Kids, where he paints the movement in kind of a more optimistic and positive light.
Yeah.
Where these misfit kids just found a way to love and accept and express themselves through fun outfits and dancing and just a general good time. So we talked about Party Monster last week and how it was a bad movie, and it was a little darker.
I stand by that.
But it's important to know that this movement wasn't just that. It was kind of an enlightenment for queer people and for just young people at the time, and it kind of shifted the social consciousness of queer people and kind of that subversive subculture. And basically the Club Kids walked so that the rest of us could kind of stumble into the whole realm of non-binary self-expression and stuff like that. Well, I shouldn't say that they didn't invent being non-binary, but you know what I mean.
Well, so there was a part on, I think it was a time they were on Phil Donahue, and like the whole audience is, one of the people on stage, I can't remember their name, was like, you just wait, like what we wear like ends up on the runway, like people are going to be wearing stuff like this one day. And everybody laughs. And who's laughing now?
Yeah.
People do dress like that nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. It's also
People do wear stupid makeup and every day. Yeah.
it's also fun because in this interview that Wallpaper did, he mentions that he had noticed kind of a similar energy in Gen Z, which I think we talked about last week too. Um, he said it's like Gen Z is in the same position we were coming out of the Reagan policies of the 80s, and I'm seeing that same energy on the streets again, and the creativity is there, which I think is great because the club kids came about like around the end of the Reagan era, and Gen Z kind of found their footing during the Trump administration. And they, banded together to, like, I'm thinking of when they bought all those tickets or reserved all those tickets for the rally and then didn't go. They were gaming the system. They were coming together, making their own kind of culture and vibe. So I don't know. We love to see it. It's interesting because I feel like, isn't it that like fashion and culture kind of operates on like a 20 or 30-year cycle? So it would like make sense.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 years. So, have you the hemline index basically is how like when times are hard, when politics are more conservative, that's when mini skirts are in. And,
Interesting.
so the hemline index, you can tell where politics are by how long the skirts are. You said a lot. I have a lot of thoughts, but so also not even just as a reaction to Reagan. This was also like people are with the AIDS crisis. People were like afraid to go out and party.
Yeah.
So club kids would a lot of times be in a club with like an empty room, like 20 people. Like, so I think that's special as well. I don't know if I agree that Gen Z is channeling this other than fashion because, okay, a common criticism, not a criticism, an observation about the club kids is like, these were like middle class white people a lot of the time. Similar criticism with like early American punk rock, like Iggy Pop went to college, that sort of thing. It's because they had parents that were giving them money. In Party Monster, James St. James talks about how he got cut off from his parents.
Yeah.
Like, so there's something to be said for like kind of the second wave club kids or like people inspired by an original movement like that where it's maybe not as authentic if your parents are buying you the outfits rather than if you're stealing supplies or dumpster diving for supplies to make your own outfit. Don't steal. Stealing is wrong. So I don't know if the same like DIY ethics are there, but who knows if I don't know. It wasn't always about DIY for club kids, but I definitely would consider myself more of a fan of the originals, the Lady Bunnies and the Hecklinas and those types of people, but I can always appreciate fashion even if it is a little privileged.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of fashion and privilege, Wallpaper made one of the most buck wild comparisons that I have heard, but it weirdly makes sense.
Okay.
He compared the club kids to the Kardashians, which at first I was like, what? But then he was like, it's kind of like people looked at club kids the way that they look at the Kardashians. It's like, you look really interesting and we don't really understand it. And what is it that you actually do? Of course, being a fan of the Kardashians myself, I know that they are actually smarter than they get a lot of credit for. And they're pretty, oh God, what's the word? They're pretty good businesswomen. I mean, Kim K is almost done with her law degree, which she's getting specifically so that she can help get wrongly convicted people out of prison. It looks like you have thoughts, but that's a tangent.
Okay. The Kardashians are not as progressive as you are making them out to be. They're also just rich, Max. They're just rich.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to disagree here. They're just rich.
We'll come back to the Kardashians maybe another time.
I'm sorry. Kim K is not doing this because she genuinely cares about people. Like, she took an easy-ass case, like, I'm sorry. I disagree with
We're going to have to agree to
motives
disagree.
behind it, and there's a lot of agree. Yeah. Phaedra Park's ass.
So, additionally, there was a lot more involved in the Club Kid movement, especially towards the end of it, because Wallpaper was talking about the level of professionalism that they had, and like they had people for things. So first of all, they had a magazine, Project X, but then they had like people whose job it was to do like the PR and set up the lighting and like I said earlier, they eventually got out onto a tour. It was a very loose tour of the U.S., but they went to like different clubs and stuff, and they would quote unquote certify these clubs as like Club Kid approved, or which
I love that.
brought in more money and more young 20-year-old kids or whatever, burgeoning club kids, to these clubs in like the Midwest, or something like that. So like it was kind of cool.
That is cool. I had never heard of that, so I would be interested in knowing what clubs they deemed appropriate.
Well, I don't know about what clubs they deemed appropriate, but I do know that one of their main go-to clubs, the Limelight, is now a gym, and Wallpaper is a member of that gym, which I think is fun. He was like, I just love the space.
Actually, yeah, that is very funny. That is very funny. CBGB's is now like a men's tuxedos shop. So there were, as far as I know, 4 Peter Gation clubs. There was the Limelight, which is the most famous. Well, okay, no. There's a Limelight, which is most famously associated with club kids. There's the Palladium, which before that was like a music club. That's where the Rolling Stones did their first U.S. tour. That's where Motorhead's original lineup played for the last time. That's where the London Calling tour happened, where Paul Simon smashed his bass, and it's that super famous picture. So Palladium ended up being one of a Peter Gation club.
I think that's also where Michael Alig started as like a busboy or something like that. Or
yeah, that might be right. There was Club USA, which I think was only around for like 2 years, and then there was Tunnel, which seems super cool. It was like a rail, like trains used to go through there, so it was like this long ass tunnel, but then there would be rooms, and each room would have themes and everything.
Oh, I love that.
So 4 clubs. I know, isn't it cool? So it's a lot of fun to see all the pictures from the different clubs.
Speaking of clubs, for some reason that just made me think of like, with all the rooms with the different themes, it's like, what if each one of those rooms was one of those clubs that was like made by like the Drag Race All Stars girls? And then I just remembered like Club 96.
Club 96.
Yeah.
Which yeah.
Anyway,
stupid.
So yeah, the whole Club Kid movement was it was just about like having fun and expressing yourself, accepting yourself, and accepting those around you. It was kind of like advertising a found family. Unfortunately, it ended kind of badly. But at its height, it was all about, found family. Natasha Bedingfield, release your inhibitions.
Oh
it
God.
was,
Feel the rain on your skin.
Feel that rain.
But no, like you said, it's a reaction to Reagan policies, and any good all good music comes out of bad politics. So there we go.
And you know what too? Like, it's, we hate to see movements like this die, especially movements that are as influential and meant so much to so many people. We hate to see them die out, but at the same time, how much would it have meant? Like, if the Club Kid movement never died, what would that look like today? 30, 40 years later, would it have any meaning still? And if it was still alive today and had lost all meaning, would there be any meaning in the original, like, first 8 to 10 years of its, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, things are always good when they're cut short. I think a lot of bands should learn from the Beatles. The Beatles were around 10 years. The Rolling Stones arguably should have been around for only 10 years. No, I love the Rolling Stones, but like, I think you're right. Things need a cutoff point sometimes.
Yeah. Except for One Direction.
Yeah, that never needed to end.
It never needed to end.
Do you remember where you were? I was in. So when Zayn left One Direction, I was in AP Environmental Science class. Do you remember where you were?
I remember exactly where I was. I was in the library at my high school because I was doing like an independent project, and my teacher was in there at the same time, and she had like come over to check on me because I was visibly upset, and she was like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" I was like, "Zayn just fucking left." And she was like, "Who's Zayn? Left what? What do you mean?" And I was like, "You don't get."
No, I remember being in that classroom and having bad signal. So I had enough signal to like either get a text or get on Twitter or whatever, but I didn't have enough signal to like send texts to my friends to be like, ah! But yeah, no, I remember that vividly. I also remember, because here's the thing, they were in the UK, we were in America, so
Yeah.
everything happened 6 hours ahead or whatever. So I remember like all the music videos and stuff at the beginning would come out while we were in school
Mm-hmm. Yep.
instead of like 8 p.m. across the pond. So I would be in like history class.
Yeah, well, I was working at my dad's shop one day, because that was like my first job when I was 16, when the best song ever video came out, and I like was like, my dad didn't want me to have my phone at work, but I was like, you don't understand. And so I was just sitting there
You
like
don't
on the
understand.
loading dock just watching, and like I was still in the closet at that point too. There was a lot going on. That was my 9/11 though when Zane left.
Stop! Oh god, I hate you. Oh, that was a really good segue.
Yeah,
All good things come to an
all
end.
good things do come to an end, and this podcast will shortly, but first, what are you into?
Oh, this week. Oh, let me tell you, I had to quit watching the New Jersey Housewives. I'm sorry, like, I watch. Yes, I watched for the fraud. I watched for the delusion. Sorry, the New Jersey Housewives are like a different level of unlikable. Like, I'll go back to it because like I did look on like the internet, and apparently like that franchise is known for being heavier because it's all like family drama.
Mm.
But there's no way I'm going to be able to binge watch all of that. So, which brings me to my point that I started watching Real Housewives of New York instead, which is my best friend told me it was like the best franchise to watch, and I'm on season 4. I really agree with her. It's amazing. So, Real Housewives of New York, also into baguettes.
I think we should just rename this segment, which franchise of Housewives is Carolyn watching this week? Because every week it's different. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Well, it's not like I'm watching the whole. Like, I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm not like,
Okay.
who has the time? So I'll like watch a couple seasons. Like, yeah.
My old roommate had the time because she would binge all the franchises like one at a time, and then she'd take like, I don't know, 6 months off, and she'd watch some other reality TV, then she'd come back to it. So, um, cool.
It's a lot to like I did watch all of Beverly Hills really quickly, and it's like a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Go ahead. What are you into?
so I am into. I watched the movie Luca for the first time this week. It came out last year. But I feel like everybody else, I slept on it. Because it is a very good film. Actually, it is. The animation is obviously beautiful. Like the textures are really realistic and stuff. But it, instead of trying to make it super realistic,
Is it like a Disney?
it is Disney Pixar, yeah.
Oh,
But they stylized it like cartoon characters. So like the textures were realistic, but the stylization was like cartoon characters. The story
interesting.
was super cute. Like at first I was like, this is a little bit, Little Mermaid for me, but like the story of friendship was really touching. There's no toxic masculinity whatsoever that I could pick up on. I'm sure someone has found something, but it was I
Wow, toxic masculinity. Georges could never.
I know. I have a liberal arts degree. I know how to look for toxic masculinity, and I didn't find any. It was such a good movie. I loved it. I also watched Drag Race UK season 2. I'm obsessed with Bimini Bon Boulash.
Oh yeah.
She is so fun.
Bellini Bon Voyage.
Yes, love her. Additionally, I have
Bippity boppity boop.
also found this band this week, which I don't know, maybe you've heard of, maybe other people have heard of. I don't know, called Pink Louds. That's PINC space LOUDS. Very interesting sound. I'm really into their song "Watching Snow." You should check it out. It's just weird and fun. I don't know. I like it.
Very nice. Are they like a band from like now, or like an old band?
I think they're a band from now. I'm not sure. I haven't looked a lot into them. There's also an artist that I found this week called Idoneus, spelled AIDENEOUS, something like that. It was, I think, like Hades' original Greek name. But only I think like 5 or 6 songs out, and they seem to be pretty heavily influenced by mythology. Like she's got this one song
Ooh,
called Persephone in the Garden, which is a gorgeous song. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep
very
watching and
nice.
see what else she comes out with. But yeah, that's what I'm into.
Very nice. Very nice.
Any final thoughts?
No final pleasantries. Have we quibbled?
We surely have quibbled. I would say so myself. Yeah, and to everyone out there, if there's anyone out there in the void, we thank you so much for listening. If you would like
Is
to
there
connect with us, you
anybody
can
in
follow us on
there?
Instagram at Mutable Immutables. You can follow us on Twitter at Immutables Pod. You can check us out on YouTube, also Mutable Immutables. And we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, maybe other places. I don't know. I'm trying to look into it and don't know how.
Let us
So,
know.
yeah. Um,
Oh my
anyway,
god.
that's all, folks. Is
That's all.
that trademarked? Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.